Hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Kindly confirm if you can hear me well. Good evening everyone. Alright, kindly confirm if you can hear me. Alright, so let's use the next few minutes to invite other people. Go tell someone. So invite someone, bring someone. If you know someone is meant to be here, go tell them. So by 7:06 we would start. So if you know there's anyone that's meant to be here, call them, send the message to your group. Let's wait for others to join in. All right, so we would be starting now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to class again. All right, so today is a continuation of our previous class, industry-specific content and emerging trends. So today we would be talking about, we would be combining. I would also say this at the end of the class so that those who are not here at the beginning would also hear. So we are not going to be having class on Friday, yes, because it's the first week of the month. So we're not going to be having class on Friday. So we'll be combining our classes for don't expect class on Friday. So today we'll be talking about video content and script writing. We'll be talking about voice search optimization. And if you, I'm very sure you'll be familiar with video content. Video content, the topics for Friday will be combining them. Instagram, TikTok, and video sharing topic. So you definitely be the one to write the script, for the company that you work. Be able to connect with the persons. Let me use the word with person used on all platforms, TikTok, YouTube. Videos on LinkedIn don't go as far as text goes on LinkedIn. Yes, so that's why videos are better for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You know, no, video. If you want to be using videos for Twitter, you are going the wrong way. So you need to plan all of these things as a content writer. Um, there's a way you can plan your content, your video content. There's a way you can write the script in a way that it fits into Twitter. There's a way you can tweak the script, tweak that content to fit into Twitter. You can do it like a thread storytelling, stuff. So as a content writer, content strategist, copywriter, you need to, learn how to do all of that. So people retain 95% of a message via video than text. Yes, that's true. So common types of video content explainers, explaining what a particular thing means, how to do this, how to do this, how to do that, you know. Then testimonials, yeah, then tutorial videos. Tutorial videos actually attracts people a lot. Then behind the scenes. Yeah, behind the scenes builds credibility actually. It makes people know that, oh, this is human, it connects with people. It also brings in engagement. So when you are thinking of the kind of video content to put, to write in your content strategy, you can think about some of these examples. Yeah. All right. The next is elements of a good video script. A hook. Hook. You see, we've been talking about hook, for a while now, and it's it keeps coming over and over again because like it's very very important as a content writer. As a content writer, you should know how to write hooks that grab attention, whether it's video, whether it's text, whatever kind of content, a copy for an ad or whatever. You need to learn how to um write hook. A hook is like the first sentence of a content or a video. The first thing someone says. That would make whoever is scrolling through social media that would make the person to stop by. And if it's for website content, whoever is, searching for something on Google, the person is scrolling through the search results, your meta description, um which is also like which should also be like your hook, should grab their attention and make them stop by your content. So you need to, practice, practice, practice. Then problem. The next element is problem. Now start with something very attractive, something that grabs attention. Then continue with, oh, this is the problem you're currently facing, attack their problem, and then bring your product or your service as the solution to their problem. If you are familiar with Instagram and you have seen some video, some ads, especially all of these ads um that are telling you to subscribe for their tech class, all of those tech class and tech classes, tech webinars, all of those skill acquisition, programs and all of that. Most of them, they would usually start with, you're not earning social amount in a month, you're going from one place to this place, and then it's not easy on you, but then several other people, they're earning so much money, they're earning it, see the, they would put this review up there, see this person, all of that, and then they would say, do you know you can also make more like that? And then they would introduce their service can be um their free, let's say their paid skill acquisition class and all of that. So that's how you write a video script. Then your call to action. Now what should your audience do next? Okay, click the link below to sign up for this class, all of that. So that's what it means. So quickly to the next. Tips for script writing. Now keep it short, under 60 seconds. Yes, as much as possible, try to make your script short. It should not be more than 60 seconds, at most 1 minute, maybe 10 seconds, because if you want to share on WhatsApp, if you want to, Instagram still even allows more Instagram still allows longer content, but it's best that it's at 60 seconds, because for anyone that is going to share on WhatsApp, and everybody is on WhatsApp today, so for anyone that's going to share on WhatsApp cuts it to 60 seconds. So as much as possible, try to make your script short. Put all the things, all the information you need to put in the script. Then use simple words. Use words that we have talked about simple words before. Yesterday on Monday we talked about jargons. Don't use industry jargons, words that people would not understand. Use words that people would easily understand, that anybody, that even if your grandma is viewing that WhatsApp status, she would understand and she can easily share it with her grandson. Do you understand? So that's why you should use simple words. Then speak like your audience. So yesterday, sorry, on Monday, talked about one of the things you need to do before you start writing your content. You need to know the audience you are talking to. Who are you talking to? You know, you need to know who you are talking to. Are you talking to pregnant women? Are you talking to young people in universities? So you need to know who you are talking to and speak like them. If you're talking to Gen Zs, let's say those in the university, and you want them to patronize a particular, course that would be really good for them and all of that, maybe a career kit and all of that. You need to speak like them. Use some of the words that they use. Yeah. Then structuring a story for a video. When you want to structure a story for a video, start with a question or a pain point. Start with a pain point is like a problem. start with something that this audience is currently going through. For example, now, um, the average Nigerian university student, when I mean Nigerian university student, I'm talking about government universities now, University of Lagos, you know, OAU schools. I'm talking about Nigerian universities, government universities now, not private universities. So the average Nigerian university student wants an extra income, to survive. They don't just want to, yes, they get funding from their parents, but they definitely want to have like a side stuff that they would be doing to, bring in a little income. Now, if you are selling a course to them that would, maybe a course or whatever, a program to them, a particular content to them, whatever you're selling to them, or whatever your product is, whatever your service is, if you are selling to them, you need to take note of that pain points that they are currently going through. Are you a university student? Um, and it's time for exam, you're hungry, you have to manage and squeeze a lot of money, and all of that. Then go ahead with someone that go ahead with a story that, oh, this person, all of these things, they're not so long. They should be they should be as short as possible, but they should also convey the message. Yes. So, start with this, continue with the story. Oh, this person was in school, and long story short, he started with this our program, and then in 2 years, or let's say in 6 months, he was able to land a role, that was flexible, all of that. Continue with a story like that, and then end with a powerful message. Oh, do you want to also be like this person? Do you want to also um be financially free, and something like that? Then sign up for this course, buy this course, whatever. So that's just like an example, so you can tweak it to whatever brand you work with. Yeah, or let's say your personal brand, you can tweak it to that. Then tools to help you. Keep cuts. You can use keep cuts. I think there's some people who sell like keep cuts pro, like they there's some people that actually like sell keep cuts pro, but you can also use the free version that has the watermark. But there's some people who sell keep cuts pro where for one email or so they can um have 4 logins, so and then they share the money. So yeah, you can also get across to people like that. So then you can also use InShot. Yes, InShot also comes with watermark. Then Canva for editing. You can use Canva to edit videos also, kind of like animations. Then you can also use Canva for graphics, simple graphics. Yes. Then Google Docs to help you write the script, assemble the script. Then Notion also to help you with the content calendar, and all of that. So voice search optimization, which is our next topic. What is voice search? So users speak to Google instead of typing. Some people that they see typing as stress. Yes, and some people with maybe some conditions, I mean health conditions now. Some people just prefer to just instead of typing, let me just swipe up and tell Google my question. Yes. So that's an example. If you open Google, you would see the voice notes button there. Also, what's the best shishi spots near me? That's like an example of what people say. Just search for something. So someone who sells this, can such person's website can come in. So, or let's say, what's the next barber shop near me, or what's the next pizza shop near me, and all of that. So, this is where Google My Business profile comes in. And this is where website content optimization comes in. Yeah, now why it matters. 71% of people prefer voice search over typing. Yeah, that's true. Especially office people, those that work in the office, you know, that don't have that strength, that usually type like all day, and they don't have that strength to come and be typing one long thing to search for Google. So some people have like long stuff they want to say to Google, and they just scroll up and just say what they want to say, and Google gives its answers. So now it's growing with mobile and smart speakers. People barely use voice search on laptops. They mostly use it on phones. Especially in a place like Nigeria or in a place like Lagos where people are inside the bus, for hours and just scroll up, type tell Google what they want instead of typing and all of that. So voice search versus text search. Now text, you can say best affordable hotels in Lagos. Now for voice search, you'd be able to express yourself more. You can say what are the cheapest hotels to stay in Lagos right now. So that gives Google like a broader perspective. And it's it's easier for those people to express themselves. Yeah. All right, next is how to optimize for voice. Use conversational tone. When you were talking about content for websites, I said answer questions of people. Start with story, answer questions that people are looking for. And where you can get some of these questions, I told you, when you search for, if you have a blog topic that you want to write about, type the blog topic on Google. I've said it a whole lot of times. Type the blog topic on Google, and you would see questions in people also ask section. So keep expanding, you see more questions related to that topic. So what you need to do is, on your blog, when you're writing your content for that topic, answer those questions. So that helps you rank better when someone is searching for those questions, when someone is typing those questions. So that's like a tip when writing content for Google. Target question-based keywords that I just said. Focus on featured snippets. Yeah. All right. Next is best keyword types for voice. Now, when you use that people also ask section, if you can do that right now, that would be better too. Search for any blog topic. Just think of any topic. Search for it on Google, and then in you would see people also ask section. You would see questions. Now, these questions comes with either who is, what is, when, where, why, how. So this is why I introduced you to the people also ask section, drafting your content from those questions, so that when it comes to, so that you'd optimize your content for voice search, because the average person who is asking Google for something, person will be very conversational. Oh, where do you think I can get shawarma in Ikorodu right now? Or all of those questions, any question, and they are very, very conversational. They express themselves more instead of typing one long thing on Google and Google is giving you something else to get. So how can I reduce stress naturally? You can see an example. How? So if you really want your content, your blog to show in voice searches, you need to use questions. You need to answer questions in your blog content. Now, voice search and optimization. Optimize for mobile. Most voice searches happen on phones. Yeah. Then use local keywords. Use local keywords. Keywords related to your environment. If you have a product or service that is related to, Lagos or you have a shop in Lagos or whatever, if your brand is in a particular area and you want to rank for content in that area, your content should have location specific keywords. Yes, so that's a very, very, like, it's a very, very good way to rank. It's a very, very good way to um be on top when someone is searching for those things. Now, tools to use. Now, how can you like get ideas for all of this? Answer the public. When you go to answer the public, you'd see a whole lot of questions. You'd get a whole lot of ideas that people are searching for that keyword that you want to rank for. Then Google Search Console. I explained Google Search Console some weeks ago, if not last week. Yes, I explained it. And I said Google Search Console, you can get data for your previous content. You can get to see what people are. You would see um which of your content ranked for voice search, and you would see all of those data on Google Search Console, and you'd be able to get more ideas from Google Search Console. You'll be able to repurpose content that ranks better. Now, user generated content is our next topic for today. User generated content. Now, user generated content, you would find a lot of content marketers, digital marketers, social media managers say things like, oh, user generated content can be used short. Hello, can you hear me now? A difference. Now, when you go on maybe Pixabay, Pixels, any of these free video sharing apps, um when you go to any of these, where to download stock videos and all of that, content that use stock videos are not user generated. So user generated are content that they were shot by people. For example, MTN wants to say something, or just the kind of content you see on IG that people shot themselves. Now, when you are working for a brand, um, we understand that there are some brands that actually use stock videos for some of their video content. But when you are coming to say, oh, let's use user generated content, for this month, and you're using words like that, it makes you sound like someone that knows what he or she is doing. All right, so user generated content are basically contents created by users. This is how MTN brand helped me and all of that. Photos, the photos are from the brands themselves. For example, the photos are were shot by MTN. themselves. They were not from stock videos. That's an example. They were not from um images. They are not from images from Google or something. They were shot by themselves. Then unboxing videos, these are examples. Then testimonials, these are examples. Now, user generated content. When a brand uses user generated content, they have content creators. I'll always make reference to Adrian Holmes because Holmes uses user generated content a whole lot. Any content, most of the, in fact, all the content you see on their page, like videos, pictures, they were done by in-house content creators. It builds trust. It helps people connect with your brand more. It helps your brand feel human. Then it drives conversions more actually. 84% of people trust recommendations from peers. So when a content creator from a brand does a particular content, or a which word would I use? Someone that bought a product from your brand decided to do a video talking about how your pizza has it was how your pizza was really nice, and how it was milky, it was so nice and all of that. That's an example of user. Now if that person shares it on their status or whatever, people would easily trust that brand because they're friends with that person. People that know that person would easily trust the brand. So this is why it's important too. Now, just maybe they were on a particular vacation and they drank this yogurt, whatever. So all of those things actually helps build credibility with your brand. Then unboxing videos. This mostly people abroad do this, though Nigerians do it, yeah, influencers do it. I bought something from, for example, I bought something from Jumia, and I'm coming back and I'm saying, you guys unbox with me. I just bought something from Jumia and it's really nice. All of those things. Yeah, it helps build credibility. Now TikTok duets or stitches. Yeah. Where to use UGC, user generated content. Now you can use user generated content for your website testimonials. If you have seen, I know I've seen this in some um real estate companies websites where they have videos on their website, like their landing page. I've explained what landing page is to you guys. So there was a particular real estate company that I checked out their website, and then I saw videos of some of a reputable person, and that person is actually a popular person, and she was talking about how she bought a land. Is it a land or house? One of them she bought from this brand, and how it was really nice. You know, customer service was excellent. She did a video about it, and they put it out on their website. So it helps. Now, if me that imagine I know that person and I follow that influencer, and I see the video on their website, I would definitely want to buy their product because someone that I follow, someone that is trusted, has already endorsed their product and said, "Oh, she bought this from them and it's really nice." So you see how that works. Now, social media feeds on your social media pages is also increases. Then paid ads. Now that would work really, really well. Imagine that video, that brand, that real estate company used that video for an ad and they promoted it and they said, do you also want to be happy? Like this influencer also, buy our land, our product and all of that. It stimulates people to buy the product. Now, how to Now, sorry about that break. How to encourage user generated content. Now, run challenges or hashtags. Now, when you are a content manager, you handle content for a brand, you definitely draft out like a content strategy, and all of that. Now, how do you encourage people to, create content for your brand and, and tag you, and, that builds credibility. Now, you can run like a challenge. This can really work with Twitter, a challenge that, yeah, it works with Twitter, but it should also work well with IG. A challenge that you can say um people should put themselves out there, maybe a particular competition that your brand is hosting, and then there would be a huge prize at the end. So now when people, create a lot of videos about it, now your brand is going viral because everybody wants to be a part of the challenge and they want to win that prize. So ask for reviews from clients, with a reward. Then feature your customers. You can say, oh, this person, you can put like a picture, this person bought our product and this is, they are doing well now. Put their end results. So these are ways you can encourage user generated content. Now, do's and don'ts. If you want people like your audience or your previous customers to create a content for you, you want to put their reviews out there with their names and their pictures, ask for permission from them before you post. If they put out a content, you know talking about your brand, ask any of your audience content, always ask for permission. Then don't edit their message too much. Content versus influencer content. Now, user generated content can be, regular users, content by the brand, content creators. Then influence brands pay them. So you don't expect an influencer to buy your product and then the influencer does a review, you know, of your product just like that for free. No, some of these people they've gone through a lot to build their audience over the years. Sponsorship. So you don't you don't put out, you don't, oh, this influencer bought your product and you're expecting them to do a review, to put your brand out there without you paying any money. So this is the difference. All right, so tools for user generated content. Tag box, then since, then later. Hello, kindly confirm if you can hear me. Kindly confirm if you can hear me. All right. So our topic next is interactive content. Now, interactive content, it's simply like an it's a kind of content that brings in engagement. So now, when you're drafting your content strategy, for a social media brand, for a social media content strategy, social media strategy, you are drafting a content calendar, for a brand. Interactive content should be one of the types of content you should have. Interactive content is basically a content that brings I would want to reply. Now, this content includes polls, it includes quiz, then sliders, calculators. Now, why it works is it increases the time people spend on the page. So if you can say, okay, once every week we'll be having interactive content, it helps you know, your it helps your page. If you are doing that for websites too, it will also help. But this is more for social media though. It increases the time people spend on your page because people would be thinking about the answers and typing the answers. They don't want to fail. You know, it makes it more memorable. They remember that, oh, there was this poll, there was this question that this brand asked. It was so interesting. They can even share it with their friends and say, what's your take on this? Answer this question. Have you done something like this before? Then it helps, yeah, get it helps them share on other people's share to their friends, tell them to reply. Now polls, what's your skincare goals? Can have like several answers there. Quizzes, which remote job suits you? You know, this is something that some friends would like their friends to, answer. All right. Anything, shoes, sandals, and they can say, oh, can you afford this kind of thing? All of that. For that can actually be for brands that, like clothing brands. It depends on the brand you're working with, so you have to be very creative about it. So it should not go out of the context of your brand, it should not go out of the solution your brand is providing. It should be related, should be something that would make them remember your brand, should be a kind of engaging content that would make them still think back to your brand. Now, interactive on Instagram can be polls, questions, countdowns, yeah, emoji sliders. Then tools for interactive content. We have type forms, we have Canva, Instagram stories work so well. Then you can have graphics. You can put out some questions, send it to your designer, they design it on graphic and then you put it out on your usual feed and people can respond. Can also have some videos that ask you some questions. Yeah, how to use in content strategy. Now add quizzes to blog posts. Yeah. Then include polls and newsletters, your email newsletters. Be very creative about it. We've talked about email newsletters before. whether it's a brand or just your content, you know, and it's a bit easier for you to continue the conversation to, make sales. Yes. So these are the ways you can use them in your content strategy. Now, tips for creating: keep it fun, make results meaningful, ask simple questions. Simple questions. Don't ask questions that include big words. Simple and clear questions. Then calculator. Now estimate your software ROI. This for B2B. We talked about B2B on Monday. This is an example. Then B2C content, quiz, find your summer fashion personality. You see this quiz, it's more for customers, it's more interactive. But B2B, it's more like professional. It's giving this because an average professional would understand what ROI is. But an average consumer, maybe a grandma, whatever person, might not understand um what ROI means. So this is why when talking to consumers, if your if your audience are consumers, ensure that you make your content as simple as possible. And then if you're talking to businesses, brands, ensure to make it professional and also very interactive. So I guess that's the end of today's class. Yeah, so if you have any questions in the next 10 minutes before we go for a break, you can start typing your questions now. So if you have any questions, I'm waiting in the next 10 minutes. Any questions about interactive content, user generated content, voice optimization, then video content and script writing. If you have any questions about any of this, start typing now. The slides will be sent to you. We treated 4 topics today. We treated voice search optimization, video content and script writing, interactive content, user generated content. How about attaching screenshot of examples of anything you're talking about? It will. Okay. When you said speak like your audience, how does that balance with not using industry jargons? Now, if you are speaking to consumers, let me use the example I used on Monday. You sell, let's say you are working for Jumia as a content writer, as a content strategist. Jumia sells to the average consumer, the average Nigerian. Jumia is not just in Nigeria, I guess. So Jumia sells to the average Nigerian. Now, if you are writing content for Jumia's social media page, would you be using big words like e-commerce, all of those big, use simple words that the average person, even if the person is a grammar, that when the person comes across your ad, the person can understand. That's what I mean. And when she comes across your ads and she's able to, read the ad very well, she can easily share to her son and say, "Oh, see this fine shoe, see this fine bag, oh, you can buy for your wife." All of those things. Yeah. How do you add quizzes to blogs? You can type them on WordPress. There's a particular way you can, there's, you would see an option to add quizzes on WordPress. So you would see like on WordPress, there's like a menu. When you are writing your content, you would see different options. So you can easily add quiz. Or better still, since you are not yet familiar with, if you are not yet familiar with WordPress, um, with using WordPress, you can type the quiz and send it over to the website developer. Google Search Console, I explained it last week, and I even did like a, if you check um last week's class, last week we talked about SEO, search engine optimization, and I did um a video, like I did a live video showing you search Google Search Console and all of that. Google Search Console, it's a website, not a website, but it's a tool that you can use to, it's a tool that you can use to check out how your website is doing, the pages, how many impressions, how many people have seen your website, and the pages that are currently ranking, any information about your website. If you go to the previous class, um, previous slides, you would see, and also the previous classes too, you would see everything. I talked about Google Search Console, I talked about Google Analytics. So it's a whole lot, and I explained it well in those classes. But then it's basically one of the tools that, yes, yes, it's a user generated content. Any content that is done by the brand that is not gotten from stock, that customer back when you are responding. You can simply say, oh, we are so sorry, be apologetic. So sorry about, don't respond back in a negative way, rather be apologetic. Yes. Okay. Um, how do you use Google Docs for writing scripts while making video content? Right. Just there's this tool, Seniorist, that I used, but with this it's like a tool for writing scripts, but it's more for film production, not the usual social media content, but simply just put in the person's name, what the person, then the next, what the person would say next. If there are two casts, put the next person's name, what the person would say next. Just arrange it like that. It's not something hard. That's why I mentioned Google Docs. Can you help us to summarize today's class again? Because network from your end did not allow us to understand very well. All right. Today we talked about video content, and and I explained your script. We have hook problem story. Then voice search optimization. A lot of there are people that use voice search optimization, that use voice search to ask on Google. So use questions, answer questions in your blog content in order to then question based keywords. Yeah. Then I would quickly search for one. So after the break, I would share my screen and show you what a script looks like. All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. So, quickly, I'll show you examples. I have one example of a script. And this the pictures would react. You put it in comma. Then, if there's meant to be like a sound, you put it there. If there's a way the room is meant to look like, you also put it there. So this is just an example. Live video because of all right. So this is an example of how Google Search Console looks like. So let's move to the first page that has impressions. The one that has impressions, because this is like, yeah, okay. So when you open Google Search Console, this is what you would see. So you can see on this sidebar, you would see overview, you would see performance. Now this is like a 3 month performance. You have several several pages for your website. I would quickly see how to relate that to you also. But while that is on, so you can see the site, but you can see several things about the website, site maps, pages of your website. Then the next screenshot. Right. So when you scroll down Google Search Console, you would then see this. Now you can see that you can see queries. Now those queries, they are what people are searching for, like what you are currently ranking for. Then you can see pages, several pages on your website, how many visits to those pages. All right. Kindly confirm if you can hear me. All right. So I was sorry about that network glitch. All right. So I'm not seeing your questions, but I was explaining I was explaining so I was explaining all right, so I guess we'd have to end in the next 2 minutes so that this network glitch doesn't affect the flow of the conversation. See desktop. then search appearance, where how many people are searching for it, like the number how many links, how many websites are linking to your page. All right, so I guess this would be the end of the class. I'm unable to upload the next screenshot, but this is basically how Google search screenshot of the home page. So this is where you would see how your website is performing, how the pages are performing. So all right, so I guess we should call it a day. All right, thank you so much everyone for coming to class. How Google Search Console looks like. I've showed you how um script looks like. All right, good night everyone.